So this is just going to be a quick video about inner trend lines and how they can be used for action reaction. Basically, action reaction is saying that whatever's happened in the past, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction for that in the future, and you base that off of like a center line. But there are other ways to draw a center line, and one of them is using an inner trend line, which I've got up here already. An inner trend line is basically the same as a normal trend line, but you cut into the range a bit more, and these tend to hold better, so that's why they work better. Basically, you try and look for 4 hits on the line, so like got 1 there, 2, 3, there aren't 4, so we'd have to draw it again. Oh, there are, right, so you got 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. I mean, you might think, oh, you can draw this so many different ways. It might look like that, but actually when you actually start to try and do it, there aren't that many possible ways to do it, so it's not as subjective as you might think. So here I've drawn it, and you could use that just as a normal trend line channel. You know, so if it breaks through, retest on the backside. Suppose if we were to extend this, you would see, let's just extend it just to show, you would see it hit the backside and fall. See that up here? But that's not why we're using it. Just get rid of that. The way I use it is for a type of action reaction trade, which I just call a mirror trade, because it kind of just reminds me of like a mirror. I just draw one of these channels to make it a lot easier. So what you do then, so you've got your inner trend line. Now when price breaks down through it, you want to measure, in this case if it's going up, you want to measure the high before it broke through, the absolute high. So that would be here, that's the highest point before it broke through, and then you would measure that 1 unit down, and then hopefully that would give you a place where price would react off of, sort of like a mirror. So now it's creating a low, and what you could do is measure it either back to the center line or inner trend line, or whatever you want to call it, or halfway. In this case it didn't really go up much, it went to halfway and then it carried on going down. But just to illustrate the point, there are another few examples that I've done. I've tried to pick the clearest ones. It doesn't always work, definitely not, but it's very useful. So just before I do this, just remember, look at this trend line here. You've got a good few hits, the more the better. So you cut into the range, a few hits, 4 at least I'd say, and obviously at this point was the lowest point, price broke through. You know, at these points here price has broken through, so you would prepare, but then obviously you'd see it come back over the line and you'd be like, alright, that was a false alarm, don't need to do anything. Did the same here, break through, keeps going, so you be on standby. So what you would do, get your equidistant channel and measure that with the absolute low. So I'm just trying to line that up as best as possible, and yeah, so you would do an equal thing over there. So price would go through, hit there. In this case it was a massive kind of move because that was the top and it went all the way down here. So again, that's like the mirror trade. I'll just draw it like that so you can see it better. So you've got like this part down here, and that is like an equal distance to that part there, based off the inner trend line, which again can be used for multiple things, doesn't really matter. And then this one, this happened what, a couple of months ago. So you've got a good few hits here on this line, and finally it came down, so the absolute high would have been there, and this might be there on that spike. You can see that again went to about halfway and just carried on going down, but points same, usually in a trend line. And yeah, could give you some ideas on how to catch a reversal in a manner that most people don't know about. They're like, I just call them mirrors, because there are other trades that can be done with action reaction, but this is a different type. I can go into them both in more detail later, but yeah, that was just a quick video to explain these trades.